Hi guys, welcome to today's video. We're gonna mix it up a little bit and it's gonna be kind of different than what I usually do. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Marissa White, and typically on Wednesdays I create videos on all things strange and unusual, but I do want to start incorporating different things into my channel for other days. So my actual first video on YouTube was a story time, and that video was horrendous. It was absolutely awful, but I left it up because I figure, it's my first YouTube video. I have to just leave it there. I knew I was going to look back on it later and hate it, but hey, you live and you learn. What can you do? So before we jump right into today's crazy story time, I want to give you guys a little bit of an explanation on where I've been and why I haven't been posting as much. So I'm going to try to not ramble, but I do have kind of a lot to share with you guys if you do follow my channel. So if you could care less and you don't want to listen to this intro, then go ahead and skip ahead to this timestamp that I'm showing you now on the screen, because I have a little bit to talk about for a few people who have been following me and might care about, where I've been and what I've been doing. So if that doesn't interest you and you're just interested in the story time, that's okay. No shade, just go ahead and skip this part. Okay, so as you guys know, I do my Weird Wednesday series and I didn't post this last Wednesday. The reason why I didn't post is because I actually came down with COVID-19. I tested positive. I was very lucky. I am very lucky that I have pretty mild symptoms. I only had symptoms for like 3 days, and today, while I still am a little congested, which is why if I sound a little different, that's probably why. Low energy, congestion, some mild things I'm still feeling. But that's why I haven't been active on my social platforms lately, in case any of you were wondering. I am quarantining here in my house. I'm not going to leave until my quarantine period is up. I believe it will be the 22nd. I'll have to double check that, but I am stuck in the house, and I just felt like kind of crappy the past few days, to be honest with you. I mean, even though I was lucky enough to not have a really, really severe case of COVID, I still was sick and just kind of laying around and just being sick. So that's why I haven't been active, and that's why I didn't post on Wednesday. So just the past few weeks, guys, has been kind of a weird time for me. I have a lot of real life things going on, and as much as I do really enjoy my YouTube channel and creating content for you guys, I'm not just gonna abandon my channel or anything. If you ever see any inconsistencies in me, it's probably because I'm dealing with real life things, and I don't think a lot of the time people who watch YouTube realize how much really goes into creating a video. It's not just sitting down in front of a camera and talking. I mean, it's so much more than that, and it takes a lot of energy, and I want to feel my true authentic self when I am filming. I don't want to feel, sick or down or not in the right headspace, because then my video will not turn out good. I've had days where I've tried to film when I'm going through something or just not feeling good or whatever the case may be, rushed, busy with work, life, whatever, and the videos, you can see right through me. I cannot fake it. So so I was sick. I came down with COVID, tested positive. I got my results yesterday. Yeah, like I said, I'm super lucky. I mean, my symptoms have been very mild, and my heart goes out to the people that, aren't so lucky, that have passed away from this disease or their loved ones have passed away from this disease. I feel very, very, very fortunate that my body is handling it the way that it is. So yeah, I wonder what you're probably thinking, Marissa, if you have COVID, why are you all done up? Well, I wanted to feel kind of like myself again. The past few days, I've just felt so gross and just nasty and sick. And so today I woke up and I had a good amount of energy. And for my mental health, sometimes it just helps to get ready. It's therapeutic for me, and just feel cute. And even though I'm literally not going anywhere, I did all this to sit here and talk to myself in front of the camera. So yeah. Is my life. So yeah, anyways, that's kind of where I've been, having COVID. The Rona got me. So my hope is to utilize the rest of my time now that my symptoms are subsiding and they're very, very mild and I seem to be getting better. Other than I cannot taste or smell. And you guys, okay, if you don't already know me or you don't know this about me, I really enjoy my food. Like, I'm a foodie. You take away my ability to enjoy my food, it's been rough. And like I said, I know I'm lucky. I am so beyond lucky to only have like a very small amount of symptoms, but I couldn't taste my food, and I still can't fully, but I couldn't taste anything or smell anything for the first few days, like 0%. And I didn't eat. I just didn't want to eat. And so I know I've probably lost some weight just from the first few days of having COVID, because everything just tasted like the most bland, unseasoned, unflavored, just like mush. That for me was like the hardest part about having COVID, is that I couldn't enjoy food. It took one of the greatest joys of my life away from me. But on a serious note, I'm good. I'm fine. It's, like I said, a super mild case. So I just have to basically stay in my house and stay away from everybody that I know and love so that I don't expose them to it. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, so enough of me rambling. Let's just jump right into today's story time. So since I'm sick, it got me thinking about other times in my life that I have been sick. And one of the times that I was really sick, actually, I wouldn't even say really sick. I had some type of bug going around that I caught. And this was years ago. When this happened to me, I was like 21. Okay, and I'm 26 now, almost 27. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that out loud. I am almost 27. I'm an old woman. Wow, that's depressing. Okay. So when I was 21, I had just went through a breakup. I was with this guy for a few years, and I considered him to be like my first real love. We like lived together, and it was really hard on me. I'm not going to get into the details of it because I have respect for him and I don't want to give out too much, but he just took a different life path than me, and he didn't want to drag me along with it. So he kind of like let me down gently to go live this lifestyle that he was living. And I didn't want it at the time. I was really, really heartbroken. And this was the first like real, genuine heartbreak of my life. And so when this happened, I was 21. I was used to living on my own, and I had to pick up and move back in with my mom. And my mom at the time and my stepdad, they were living in a smaller house because us kids were, grown and out of the house. Well, my sister was still living there, my younger sister, but it's just the three of them. So there wasn't much room for me, but they made it work until I could figure out, where I was going to go next. And I slept on the couch. Now, at this time in my life, I was actually a fresh EMT right out of EMT school. I was working for this company doing standby, so I did know a bit. I'm not saying by any means that EMT is like the most knowledgeable, field out there for, the medical field, but I knew enough to know the signs and symptoms of overdoses and strokes and heart attacks. And you have to learn all those types of emergency situations because that's what you're going to be dealing with out in the field. The Rona got me. Keep that in mind. I had some medical knowledge. I became sick and I just had some type of weird virus going around. It wasn't anything serious, but I did feel like crap. And if you're anything like me, then I cannot stand being congested. Like if I can't breathe through my nose fully, I get anxiety. Like I feel like I'm gonna like suffocate and die. So I have to be able to breathe. So I was taking decongestant, over-the-counter decongestant medication, and I was also using this like nasal spray that you spray in your nose to like decongest you. And like I said, that is my biggest thing when I'm sick. I cannot stand having a completely stuffed up nose. It is awful. So I'm sick and I'm laying down on the couch and everyone in my house is getting ready to go to bed. I had taken 2 Tylenol PM severe sinus, I think is what they were. They were like a specific kind of Tylenol for when you're sick and you have like congestion and stuff. So I took 2. Okay, that's the recommended dosage. 2. I did my little nasal spray in each nostril and I felt enough relief to go to sleep. So I went to sleep and I woke up maybe like an hour later, if even that. I don't really recall the exact time frame, but I woke up and I was like, man, I'm congested again. This sucks. So I took 2 more. So I took 4 Tylenol in a matter of like an hour or so. So really quick, guys, while I'm editing this, I forgot to mention that I had also taken 1 dose of the NyQuil Severe, which also has a decongestant in it as well. The Tylenol Severe Sinus, whatever. And I went back to sleep. Now, this is where it gets crazy. And I can still recall every single feeling and emotion as if it just happened because it was so terrifying. I woke up and I remember waking up because the TV, there was like a really loud part in a movie or something, and it woke me up and I was like, oh, that's annoying. I need to turn it off. And when I went to go reach for the remote to turn the volume on the TV off, I felt like I was so beyond up, like drunk on something. I don't know. I had never felt this way before, but I couldn't even grab the remote properly. Like I had no control of my body is what it felt like. I was so sluggish and it just felt like my arms weighed 1,000 pounds. And I was like, what is going on right now? And then I thought, okay, maybe, my brain is just awake faster than my body. So I give myself a minute and I start to try to move again. And I'm just like sluggish, to say the least. Then I notice that when I try to focus my eyesight on anything, I can't focus. It's like I'm spinning around in circles and I can't see straight. So then I'm like, oh shit. And then my EMT brain, because I had just finished EMT school, I start thinking, am I having a stroke right now? Like, is something medically wrong with me? This is not normal. And I knew that I didn't like take any type of drug to make me like trip out like this. So I'm thinking, okay, I could be having a stroke. That was the first thing that popped into my head. I'm 21 years old and I'm healthy, and so the odds of me having a stroke, not high. But that's the only thing I could think of. And the fact that I had complete loss of my motor skills, I was like, oh yeah, I'm done. This is how I die. I'm going out. And it was scary. So then I get myself to sit up. Now again, I am on the couch in my mom's house. And I sit up and I'm just spinning and I can't see straight and I can barely move properly. I just felt so unstable and wobbly. I try to call out for my mom and I'm just like, yeah. Like I could not speak. And once I realized that I couldn't even speak, like I could not like form words that made sense, I started to panic. Instantly, my heart started pounding, anxiety through the roof. I can't even speak properly. So in my head, I'm completely sane. I know, I'm totally aware of all of my surroundings. Like I am totally coherent. But my body, I can't control my body, which is a really scary feeling. So I'm starting to freak out and panic, and I'm like trying to call my mom, trying to make any kind of noise I can to get her attention. And my mom's a heavy sleeper, and so is my stepdad. So I somehow, some way, force myself to get up, and I'm stumbling, and I'm holding onto the wall, and I'm grabbing onto different furniture, trying to, like a zombie, walk down the hallway to my mom's room. And it was really difficult. And so I'm stumbling. I'm like, I gotta get to her room, because if I just lay here right now and I don't make it known what's happening to me, I could die. And again, I thought I must be having a stroke. So I crawl like a freaking zombie and I'm in the hallway and I'm just like leaned up against the wall and I'm just like sliding down the wall like, mom, making no sense whatsoever. And all of a sudden, my mom raises up out of her bed and I make eye contact with her and I go, 911. My mom's like, what the f is going on? So my parents like fly out of bed, and I remember my mom coming to me and stabilizing me and holding me up and being like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I just, boom, out. I passed out, and I guess she like caught me and broke my fall, but I don't know. I don't remember falling because I passed out. She said, and my stepdad said that my eyes just rolled in the back of my head and I just was boom, out. So I pass out. My mom's holding me, freaking out. My dad's calling 911. My sister's up. My sister's now freaking out, like, what is going on? And I guess I look at my mom in her face in front of my whole family after I come to from passing out. I was only out for a few seconds. My mom's stimulating me, slapping me around, like, get up, get up, get up. And I look at her. This is not funny at all, my poor mother. I look at her and I go, am I dead? I thought I was dead. Oh my God. And my mom's like, no, you're not dead. Don't say that. Like freaking out. You're not dead. You're not dead. And I'm just again, limp noodle, just don't know what's going on, freaking out. And then I start to think in my head, okay, what can you do to help yourself right now? Maybe you took a medication and you thought it was something that it wasn't. And I remember like pulling the Tylenol out of the package. Like it was Tylenol, it was sealed. But for some reason in my head, I was like, what if it wasn't? Like, what if you took something else by accident? Which I didn't have anything else on me. There was nothing in my house that was like any type of narcotic or controlled substance or anything like that. But again, EMT brain was like, you probably, if you're not having a stroke, you probably ingested something somehow, some way. So then I start trying to make myself puke. And by that time, that's no good, right? And I should have known that, but I was just panicking. I was trying to do anything to make myself better. So I start sticking my fingers in my throat, trying to make myself puke. And I don't even remember if anything came out or not, to be honest. I just was like trying to get whatever was in me out of me, but it was obviously already in my bloodstream by that time, and it was too late. So the ambulance arrives, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, they treated me like shit. So as an EMT, you are trained to deal with people who have substance abuse issues, and there's a right way and a wrong way, and they are human beings, whether they're homeless or on drugs or whatever the case may be. Your bedside manner, the way that you treat your patients, should not vary based on that. They are all human beings. And unfortunately in EMS, this is something that you see a lot of. People get burnt out. A lot of people will discriminate against you if they think you're an addict or you're homeless or anything like that. They have no patience with you. They don't care. They're just, all right, get them in the ambulance and dump them off at the hospital. We don't want to deal with this. And I had all of the signs of an opioid overdose. I had the really, really, really pale skin and the way that my pupils were and everything. They totally thought that I like popped a bunch of, took a bunch of opioids, some type of pills, and they thought that that's what I was overdosing from. But because at the time my vitals and stuff were stable, my blood pressure was okay, my heart rate was okay. I mean, it wasn't the greatest. It was elevated because I had anxiety and my blood pressure was off a little bit, but because I wasn't, like an immediate threat, they didn't run the sirens or anything. They didn't have to do that. And so they treated me like shit, even though it was one of the scariest moments of my life. And I did not do anything to inflict it on myself. And I wasn't an addict, but regardless, even if I was, it's just such bullshit that that's how, a lot of people get treated, whether or not it was, intentional or they are taking drugs because of an addiction. And in my case, that wasn't the case. It was literally Tylenol that I bought from the store. And I get in the ambulance and they're trying to, kind of assess my level of consciousness and whatnot. And they just keep asking me, like, what did you take? What did you do? What is it? And they start naming off all these different drugs. And I just keep shaking my head, no, no, no. And they think that I'm lying. They think I'm full of shit. They think that I'm on drugs. And they're like assessing me for like track marks to see if I was using like with a needle or anything like that. And obviously I had no track marks. And they're just being really cold and mean. And I'm thinking in my head, how can I communicate with these people that I too am an EMT? I understand 100% what's going on. I'm conscious and aware, but I don't have control of my motor skills, and and explain to them what's going on so they'll stop treating me so badly. And then I give up. It was taking so much of my energy. And the guy in the back of the ambulance, there was a girl driving. She was probably the EMT. And then the guy in the back, which was probably the paramedic, because that's usually how it goes. The guy was in the back with me, and he was just such a dick to me, you guys. And he just kept yelling at me.
What's your social? What's your social security number?
And I'm literally sitting there like, I can't talk. How the am I supposed to tell you my social security number when I can hardly say my name right now? So yeah, they just made me feel like I was a liar and not deserving of proper care and compassion. And I could even hear them as they were loading me up questioning my parents, like, you need to tell us what your daughter takes, or what if you know she's an addict, and blah, blah. And my parents are like, no, we know our daughter. Like, she's not an addict. She does not take drugs. She is not on anything like that. She was sick. She went to sleep. We were just with her, and she woke up like this. But they were rude to my parents, and they didn't want my mom riding in the ambulance with me for some reason. So they followed. And as I'm in the ambulance, I start hallucinating, you guys. I'm looking around and I'm thinking that I'm back in my house on my couch. So this is hard to kind of explain, but I kept going in and out of me being in an ambulance and then in my house. And I was just kind of in and out of that mindset for the ambulance ride. And then I'm thinking the dogs are there because we have dogs. No, I was in the ambulance. Where am I? This is horrible. I'm gonna die in here. And again, because I was dealing with a lot in that moment with where I was at in life and the breakup and all that, I was so truly devastated because in my head, I was like, I'm gonna die. This is how I die. And I felt so devastated that was it. That's where my life was ending. That I went through all this shit. I was in such a horrible place mentally, trying to pick myself back up and like start over, and this is where it ends? Really? Like this is how it's gonna end. And I was just praying to God, like, please don't let this be it. I don't want this for my family. My family had just suffered a huge loss. My grandfather, who was the rock of our family and like a father to me, he had passed not even maybe a month before all this happened. And I was just thinking, if I die right now, my family is going to be in so much more pain than they are already in right now. So it was really scary. All jokes aside, it was a very humbling moment. And I still look back to that moment to this day, even though my vitals were good and I wasn't going to die. I could have died if I would have taken more of what I took. But I didn't. So, but at the time, I really genuinely thought, like, this could be it. And my poor family, like, my mom's gonna have to bury her daughter. And my grandmother, who just lost her husband, the love of her life, is gonna have to bury her granddaughter. And they just grieved this awful loss. I can't do that to them. And so I just kept praying, like, please don't let this be it. Just let me hang on. It was sad. It was scary. And still to this day, I try to look back on that moment and remember, you never know, when your time is up, and you got to get whatever situations you need situated. You got to do it now. You have to make sure you communicate with people how you feel, tell them you love them, all of those things you already know. But that moment just really was an eye-opener for me because I thought I was going to die. Okay, so I finally get to the hospital and they start to, take me out of the ambulance, and they're bringing me into the hospital, into the ER. And the first thing that you have to do when you go to the ER and anything like that is you do like a triage. And so they take my vitals. I talk to the nurses, and they wanted to immediately separate me from my parents so that they could ask me those questions on, about what I took or what I did to get the way that I am. And they didn't want my mom and my dad around because they thought I wouldn't tell the truth. So they separated me from them, and they're just trying to ask me, the standard questions they ask you when you go into a hospital. And I felt like, why are you triaging me? Like, I need to be in a bed now. I need to be seen by a doctor now because, again, I think I'm dying. But because they were triaging me and I knew my vitals and everything were stable, I started to calm down a little bit in the sense where I'm like, okay, obviously I am not a priority patient in their eyes, so I'm probably not gonna die. So I finally got over that anxiety a little bit. It was a little bit easier. And I was just trying to communicate with the triage nurse. Like, I didn't do this on purpose. I'm not an addict. I don't know what's going on. All I took was Tylenol, PM sinus. That is it. But I can't speak. I can't communicate with them. And they finally realize, okay, she is too far gone. Like, we are not going to get anything out of her. So the first thing that they do is they take me back and they take blood from me. Now, they do a toxicology screening where they want to see what is in my bloodstream. So the whole time I'm in this hospital, in the ambulance, everyone's treating me like shit. Everyone's bedside manner is like, you're an addict, da-da-da-da, like, let this be a lesson to you kind of deal. Not giving me the care that I deserved, and it was really scary for me, and I just wanted someone to just be nice to me, and my parents were going through it with them, and it was just awful. And I'm realizing in my head, as they're taking my blood, they are going to do a toxicology report on me, and they are going to see that I am clean as a whistle, and then they're going to feel like shit, and I cannot wait for that moment. Well, what do you know? They get my blood drawn, they do their thing, and then I get put in a room. And they get me an IV, and I'm just laying there, and I keep looking at the monitor to see my own blood pressure and my pulse and my oxygen saturation. I keep looking up and looking at it, and my mom keeps reminding me, you're okay, honey. Everything's fine. All your vitals are normal. You're okay. You're going to be just fine. You're stable. Don't worry. Just relax. But I could not relax. I could not stop looking up at my monitor. And anytime it would make a weird noise or anything, I'm like, oh my God, is my BP dropping? Is my oxygen going down? Like, am I going to die? And so I just kept staring at the monitor like, please don't start dropping. Like, I want to live. So finally, the doctor comes in and my toxicology report is back and I am clean. Now, when I say that the attitude of how I was treated immediately changed, immediately. I mean, it was like they knew. And my mom made that clear. I couldn't advocate for myself, and my mom was pissed. She was like, how dare you guys? Everyone treated her like shit, from the ambulance to the triagers. Everybody kept interrogating her. My daughter got interrogated. And I'm like laying there like, you get him, Mom. Tell them. Yeah, my mom, she was my biggest advocate, and she really laid into them, and we were just met with apologies like, oh, it's just standard protocol. We weren't interrogating her. I mean, they were not necessarily apologetic because they didn't want to admit that they were treating me like shit, but they were just trying to basically cover their asses by saying, well, that's just standard protocol for how we, treat and assess patients who we suspect of an overdose. We want to find out what they took, blah, blah, blah. My mom, she wasn't having it. So she definitely tore into the staff and ripped them a new one. So then they realize, okay, you're not, on drugs. And basically the doctor comes in after a few hours and talks to me and is like, so in a nutshell, you overdosed. And I was just like, what? Like, how? I didn't understand how I overdosed. But I guess it's really common, and especially with these decongestant medications, my pharmacology is like, I don't even know, but the type of medication that I was taking, the type of Tylenol, had a certain kind of decongestant in it that not only am I already really sensitive to, I had like a bad reaction to it. I wouldn't say allergic because I wasn't allergic to it, but it was just, it sent my body into overdose. It was like toxic to me. That's pretty much how the doctor described it. And I was using that nasal spray too. And I didn't think about, Marissa, that also has medication in it. I was just spraying that stuff in my nose thinking it's like saline, like salt water basically, just clearing my nose out. But my dumbass didn't think, with all this nasal spray, you're putting more of this decongestant medication into your body. And so in the combination of the nasal spray and then the Tylenol severe sinus that and I took 4 of them within a short period of time. My body just said, nope, we are done, too much for us, and I overdosed and had a really, really bad reaction, and I was tripping balls. That is how it felt. It felt like I was having a bad trip, and it was really scary. And yeah, so technically I overdosed. It was not intentional. It was completely an accident. And it was really scary. And even though it's funny now, and me and my mom still talk about it, and my sister will always joke and be like, am I dead? They'll never let me live that moment down, you guys, when I was like, am I dead? But it was really scary. And let this just be a warning to you. Be careful when you're taking medication, whether it's prescribed to you. I mean, you shouldn't be taking medication if it's not prescribed to you, but whether it's prescribed to you by your doctor, over the counter, whatever, be careful, because never in a million years did I think that something like Tylenol would send me into a full-blown overdose like that, and that my body would respond like that. But it did, and it sucked. And I still look back at this day and I'm like, holy shit, that was crazy. To this day, I have never taken that medication again. And I will not. I am scarred for life. I will not do it. I'll take like NyQuil, DayQuil, stuff like that, but I will never take the Tylenol, severe sinus, decongestant, whatever. Never again. I don't even like taking Tylenol, to be honest. But yeah, that's the story of the time that my dumbass overdosed. Also, let this be known. If you are a medical professional, okay, any type of medical professional, please, please, please remember to treat all of your patients equally, treat them with care. I know that your job is hard. I know that you have to deal with people being not very nice to you sometimes, and your job is very stressful and very important, and that it's easy to get burnt out. But if you're feeling like you need to treat your patients like they don't matter, then maybe it's time for you to take a break, talk to somebody, get into a different field, because you're meeting with people in the industry that you're in who might be on their last day, or who might be so terrified. This might be the scariest day of their life. And you have to remember that constantly. And like I said, I am so supportive and compassionate with what people in the medical field have to deal with on a daily basis. And I know that it's very stressful, and I know that it's a lot, but just remember to treat your patients with care and kindness, no matter what background, no matter what, if they're addicted to something or not. Just please try to remember that, because I really truly thought in my heart that there was a good chance I was gonna die, and I was being treated like absolute garbage. And if I was gonna die, to know that that's how I was being treated, like right before I died, like to know that people go through that is just absolutely heartbreaking to me and disgusting, to be honest. No one should be treated like that regardless. So I just wanted to put that out there. Quick little outro for you guys. So I had mentioned in my last video that I had some vlog footage of Nate and I Christmas shopping and getting a Christmas tree and doing all those kinds of things. And you guys, I am such a rookie that I filmed, because I used my phone, I filmed everything vertically instead of horizontally. So if you know anything about, film and stuff like that, on an iPhone, it just looks like absolute trash, garbage. All the footage is pretty much useless. I mean, it'll be nice for Nate and I to look back on it one day, but it just looks so bad that I basically am out of luck with all of that footage. And the vlog that I wanted to put together for you guys, sadly, is not gonna happen because I'm dumb. You live and you learn. But I'm gonna try to get some holiday kind of content out for you guys soon. Again, I am sick. I do have COVID. I have mild symptoms, but I don't have a whole lot of energy, and I am still getting headaches just from like the congestion, like pressure headaches and stuff. But I'm gonna try to utilize this time to the best of my abilities and pump out some content for you guys, since I'm stuck at home with nothing else to do and I'm not feeling too bad anymore. So yeah, remember guys to be careful what you take. Check the labels, check the proper dosage. Don't be stupid like me. Take this as a warning. You don't want to end up in the position that I was in. Trust me. It was really hard on my family too, and I scared the crap out of them. So it was a really shitty experience. With that being said, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it wasn't anything spooky or scary. It's not Wednesday, so I figured if I was going to upload something like this, another story time or something non-paranormal, that I wouldn't do it on a Wednesday. Obviously, save that for all my spooky babies who want to hear all of the paranormal and scary things. I will, unless something crazy or astronomical happens, have a Weird Wednesday video for you guys coming up this Wednesday. Again, sorry I missed you last Wednesday. Kind of had a good excuse. The Rona got me. But this coming Wednesday, as long as I don't like rapidly decline or anything like that, which I really don't see myself doing, I feel pretty good, then I will have a Weird Wednesday video for you guys. So if that's more your jam, stay tuned for that because it is coming. And thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching this entire video. Really, truly do appreciate it. And I hope that you learned something from this video. I really hope you take my advice and don't make the same mistake that I made and accidentally overdose on Tylenol or any kind of medication. If you did enjoy watching this video, it would mean so much to me if you did like it. It truly helps me out tremendously. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please, please, please think about it. Think about it. No pressure, but pressure. Think about it. Join my family. It's fun here. I mean, if you're not here for the story times and the other type of content that I put out that's not spooky, I do have my Weird Wednesdays. So, and hit the little notification bell so you don't have to miss when I upload. You'll know right away. Thank you guys so much. Again, I truly do appreciate you. And also, if any of you guys have experienced something like this, go ahead and drop it down in the comments below. Share your story with me. I would love to hear if any of you guys have experienced anything similar to what I went through, because I tell my friends and stuff about it and they're like, what? Really? Tylenol? That's crazy. So let me know in the comments below if you or someone that you know has experienced something like this. And I'm not gonna let the Rona get me down, guys. I got this. So keep your eyes peeled for more content to come soon. And thank you so much for watching. All right, I'll see you guys next time.